We unify religious, that is social, economic, and physical philosophies by examining them as collectives. A society is a collective of individuals. An economy is a collective of economic entities, that is, people, families, villages, countries, and companies that engage in trade. A fluid is a collective of molecules. A plasma is a collective of charged particles, and a field is a collective of elementary particles. Although we will call these collective systems, they are commonly called complex systems. Although at the core, these systems are analytic, holomorphic, or complex, they also display simple emergent behaviors. Since complex can be viewed as the antonym of simple, we prefer to use the word collective. These collectives are also closed or conservative. What one individual loses, others gain. This does not exclude the possibility of external interactions, though. There are three essential elements of a religious philosophy or theology. The first is the existence of an emergent virtual individual of the collective. There is a recognition of a self-consistent organization or correlation of the collective where the organization leads to a force and the force leads to the organization. The force is self-consistent with the organization. This emergent virtual individual can be viewed as a puppet master of a few puppets. These puppets are then multiply reflected through a hall of mirrors to form the collective. This virtual individual is the spirit or God. The second is the golden rule of collectives. Because of the emergence of the virtual individual, the collective acts as one, and local actions have global consequences. This is expressed in many ways. A rising tide floats all ships. All for one for all. United we stand, divided we fall. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Interconnectedness, etc. The spirit of Ubuntu is the virtual individual emerging from the interconnectedness of the collective. This is also behind the philosophy of looking out for your neighbors in rural America and your mates in Australia. The third is the concept of control, a concept that religions have struggled with over time. It is not easy to control these very unstable conservative collectives. The instability results in disruptions of the collective, sometimes leading to a crash or collapse. The most practical way to control the collective is resistance, oppression, or usury. The Christian religious philosophers through the Middle Ages, including Thomas Aquinas, realized that there was something wrong with usury. There is even a specific prohibition of riba in Islam's Quran. But during the Renaissance of the 14th and 15th centuries, the need for control became essential. So despite the prohibition on usury by the Roman Catholic Church, overt usury was permitted by Jews, and a more subtle covert usury was permitted by financial institutions like the Bank of Medici. Currency exchange future spreads and Christmas gifts for deposits. The Medici popes in the 16th century, through the chest of indulgences, instituted usury as a method of funding the church. The economic oppression of the chest of indulgences was recognized by Martin Luther and was a main cause of the Protestant Reformation. Luther replaced the chest of indulgences with the usury-free community chest. With usury eliminated, the instability returns. What can be done to control the collective without resistance? The answer is given by a combination of generative artificial intelligence, Gen AI, forecasting and ponder motive control of collective systems, and transparent and accountable electronic tap and pay transactional equity. This enables Ubuntu, that is print invest financing, that is friction, interest-free. This creates a social and economic superconductor. Once an investment is made in the economy or society without resistance, no further investment is needed. This is a method of control that maximizes social good rather than the resistant method of control that maximizes social exploitation. It maximizes sustainable revenue rather than short-term profit. Ubuntu is the economics or religion of freedom, joy, enlightenment, transparency, altruism, and openness. Debt is the economics or religion of oppression, depression, that is gloom, darkness, secrecy, sadism, and mendaciousness. Ubuntu leads to growth and good. Debt leads to liquidation and evil. When a country takes loans from the International Monetary Fund to grow the economy, the IMF over the long term liquidates the economy, leading to the well-known situations in Greece and Argentina. When private equity acquires and operates an asset, they do not grow the value of the asset, they liquidate the asset. Private equity liquidates the pension fund, the inventory, the cash savings, the real estate, the brands. Eventually, the business goes out of business, like Sears. The same is true of venture capital, with no research, quick paybacks, and exits, and public companies with expected dividends, profits, and stock buybacks. A final comment on prejudice and anti-Semitism. One always needs to separate the person from the people and the people from the practice. One should prohibit the practice, not exterminate the people. This is well expressed in a letter from Ezra Pound to President Truman, defending himself against charges of anti-Semitism when he says, "I am not anti-Semitic, and I distinguish between the Jewish usurer and the Jew who does an honest day's work for a living." The African spirit of Ubuntu is described by Nelson Mandela in a moving video produced for the initial public release of the Ubuntu distribution of Linux in October of 2004.
Many people regard you as a personification of Ubuntu. What do you understand Ubuntu to be?
In the old days when we were young, a traveler through a country would stop at a village and he didn't have to ask for food or for water. Once he stops, the people give him food, entertain him. That is one aspect of Ubuntu, but it will have various aspects. Ubuntu does not mean that people should not enrich themselves. The question, therefore, is, are you going to do so in order to enable the community around you to be able to improve? These are the important things in life. And if one can do that, you have done something very important which will be appreciated.
Very well said indeed.